The government have made it impossible for me to be a landlord, and my tenants have gone into social housing.
Okay, why has the government made it impossible for you to be a landlord, Marion?
Legislation.
What legislation's that?
Well, my properties were HMOs.
Mm-hmm.
The government or the inspector came along and they made 3 sets of people homeless, saying that the house was...
Overcrowded?
Overcrowded, that's right.
Unsafe?
No, overcrowded.
Right, okay.
So that's fine. And they housed them in accommodation which was much, much smaller.
I mean, do you agree as a landlady, though, that
I'm not a landlady anymore.
Sorry, as a former landlady, from your experience, do you agree that we've got to a stage where tenants really have not had any rights, and that if they complained to their landlord or landlady, then they could just get chucked out?
I think that's in the minority of instances.
Yeah, sure, it's definitely 100% in the minority, isn't it? Especially at a time of the hottest possible rental market we've had in UK history. Yeah, I'm sure landlords at no point have decided to wield their power to be able to maximise their revenue. Like, we literally hear the landlords at the landlord convention. Remember the one interviewed by Rivka Brown, who just said, I'm just following the market trends, really. Have you ever considered giving your renters a reduction? No. So I raised it because I could. And my financial advisor told me I could kick the tenants out and get new ones and raise the rental price, like to be able to hit the market value. Like that's something that fucking landlords do all the fucking time.
It certainly didn't happen in my case.
I'm sure it didn't in relation to you, but I'm just saying that, in order to get the balance right, so that tenants have rights but landlords have rights, so that we have enough rented accommodation but also that the accommodation's of an appropriate standard, tenants do need to have some rights too.
I've been forced out of the market. I've got one property on the market at the moment, which we have been able to sell to new entrants to the market at a heavily discounted price because we're just so desperate to get out. And that's because the whole housing situation has been managed so badly by the government. Nobody ever sort of mentions that we've been burdened with increasing legislation, cuts to tax relief that we used to get.
How about people whose entire income stream is predicated off of leeching money like a parasite off of people with real jobs who do real work, who do real contributions to society? How about they don't have tax relief? Like, why should people who are completely economically inactive receive tax breaks? Why? Why should you? What do landlords contribute to society that justifies them having any tax breaks whatsoever? Oh, you're imposing legislation. Good. Landlords continually refer to themselves as housing providers, as if they're the people who built the house in the first place, rather than just a useless middleman parasite who jumped in halfway through, leeching money like a parasite off of people with real jobs. If you're going to call yourself a housing provider, then you should at least be willing to deal with the idea of legislation that makes the housing that you provide to be up to the basic standard of being livable for tenants. And this is too much for these people. Burdensome legislation. Oh, my free money has come with conditions. Yeah, mate. For us, in normal world, people with us with jobs, our money is conditioned on doing work, actually contributing to society. What's the condition of yours? Ensuring that the house is fit for human habitation. Oh, how burdensome. Cry me a fucking river. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, right? That's the thing about landlords, is they're 100% economically inactive. The people who are doing the work, who are being productive, are the tenants who they leech off of. Yet people are getting mad. People are getting mad at desperate people on the bottom of the income scale who are on welfare, disabled people on welfare, continually being attacked by the government as if they've done something wrong by being unable to work. Or people who are searching for jobs but can't find one. People within the media will rag on them and saying, these people refuse to work, they won't get a job, they're leeching off the state. Landlords are out here leeching off of hard-working people every single day. Do they receive ire from the government, from our journalists, from our media class? No. No, they don't. They don't receive the same kind of levels of repugnant vitriol that the disabled face for being unable to work. And disabled people don't have a choice. It's absolutely your choice to go out there and be a parasitic landlord leech. The choice that you've made. And then moaning, we don't get tax relief or burdensome legislation. Eat my entire asshole.
If I have a new tenant, all the setup costs are down to me now. It used to be a shared cost.
Why should it be a shared cost? Why should it be a shared cost? It's your property. You keep banging on, like landlords will bang on. Oh, it's my house, it's my property. I own it. I should be able to understand what to do with it. It should be up to me. Okay, and it should be up to you to do all of the setup required to make it fit for the tenant to be able to live in when you change tenants, right? Again, you keep saying, well, it's my thing, this is my property, this is my nest egg. Well, then it's your responsibility then, isn't it? And also, it's true, somebody pointed out in chat there as well, that landlords don't just leech off of tenants. That's also off of the state, because rental prices are so high because the vast majority of landlords in this country are out there, sometimes even using algorithms to maximize revenue, you know, kicking tenants in and out and get new ones who can pay the new market price to maximize revenue. Rental prices are now so high, regular ass people can't afford it because it's almost half their income. So they have to have the cost that propped up by the state. So landlords are being subsidised by the government to have rents that are too high that people can't afford in terms of housing benefit, which used to be council housing where the government would make revenue.
And I just feel like private landlords have had enough. The property that we've just had to get vacated, the family were there for 8 years. It was a horrible feeling to have to say to them, look, I'm sorry, we just can't continue this anymore because it's actually going to cost us.
Apart from the free house that you're getting bought for you, it's costing you money in terms of the fact that you're now going to have to pay some of your own mortgage. Shock, horror, I'm going to have to actually pay for the thing that I bought myself rather than expecting poor people to pay for it. I guess I'll have to throw people out onto the street. How about, why don't you sell the house? Why don't you sell the house to the person who's living in it?
And I just think you're going to see more and more families out on the street because the government have not made private landlords feel valued.
Incredible. Not only do they want to take money off of people whilst literally doing nothing and just taking money off of people by virtue of being people who owned houses when they were cheaper, they also want to feel valued. Oh, I don't feel like I'm being valued in society for the literal zero contribution I make as a private landlord. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic that these career landlords, that these people, they're not landlords of circumstance. Like, I had friends who were in negative equity who needed to move for work but couldn't remortgage because of their negative equity, and so were forced to being accidental landlords because of the nature of the property market, and I can empathize with that. But people who are going out there whose career decision is to be a private landlord, not only are they getting mad at basic renters protections, they're also getting mad at the idea that the government doesn't value them. No one values you. Remember, it was only in 2011, chat. Only in 2011 that the number of private renters outstripped the number of social renters. And what's happened to rents ever since? I'm not a renter. I've not been a renter since 2020. And last time I was renting, I was paying £400 a month, inclusive of bills, right? £400 a month inclusive of bills. That's how much I used to pay in rent when I lived in rented accommodation. In the last 4 years, those same kind of places are now double that. Actually double that. I have zero empathy for any landlord in this country at all. Zero empathy for career landlords out there who've just been told by their financial advisor that it's going to be economically beneficial for them to get into property, and then they've just done it because they want to make money off of poor people. That's what happens half the time. Half the time, landlords get into the market either because they just genuinely have a desire to not do any work for the rest of their life and just live off of other people's income, or they've done it because they've just been told by a financial advisor that it's free money, because it basically is free money. Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership. It's just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.